Hi, Andrew Kelly here, and I will be going over what I think my deposition is as a teacher that makes me successful. And I would say that that would be my rapport I establish with my students. Very genuine, very down to earth, very honest with them, and it allows for them to gain a good understanding of who I am. And I go out of my way to make sure that I know each of my students on a personal level and find out interests with them. And for example, I tend to every morning watch ESPN, and for the most part on my caseload for a special education teacher, I have boys, and they're all into sports. So on ESPN, I know the boys who are into the Dodgers, and I know I need to keep up on with the Jock Peterson home run that wins them the game against Cincinnati. And the Yasiel Puig coming back and him hitting a home run, but the Dodgers still coming out victorious. Or I need to know what's the happenings with the Rams, what's going on with Goff and the likes. Soccer, keeping up with my soccer guys, Man City, Liverpool, the title race. And I think things along those lines, and basketball. Yeah, I can't forget basketball. It's all on there in the mornings on ESPN, and it just allows for me to have conversations. The Clippers are somehow coming back from 31 down to beat the Warriors. And these are all little conversations that I have with my students over the course of a period or seeing them at snack or lunch. And it just allows for them to know that I know what they're into. Uh, I'm a person. I enjoy the same things that they do. I might be a little bit older than they are. However, I do have the same similar interests to them, especially with music as well, staying up to date with hip hop or bands in the vein of Tame Impala, but whatever it may be, just being able to be relatable to the students. I think that goes a long way. Relatable and feeling like you actually do care about them. Um, I think that plays a large part of me gaining the respect of those students. And so I think those are a few things that I definitely find myself being successful with. Uh, Things that I can work on, however, definitely with special education, there is a timeliness that comes along with the IEPs and the turnover of IEPs. Like I said, with my students, I have a very good rapport with all the parents, most of the parents, I should say, with my students. However, when it comes to setting up the meetings, when it comes up to having the booking the facilities, I do okay in those regards. But when it comes to uh, getting back to them, like putting the notes together, putting the whole entire IEP together, and then getting it to the parents, uh, sometimes it goes out of sight, out of mind, and I can forget to get the IEP to the parents in a timely manner, or what I would consider to be a timely manner, as well as uploading it to this virtual platform that we do have, Yellow Pages. I believe it's called Yellow Pages. Yellow Folder. Yellow Pages where you find names of people's phone numbers. So Yellow Folder where we kind of put all our IEPs so that they can be reviewed by uh, the director of special education. So that's definitely something I can improve upon is my timeliness with my turnover, my IEPs, getting to the parents, as well as getting it into Yellow Folder, and then getting the signature page into my binder rather than having heaps of papers on my desk. It'd be nice to get them off the desk and get them where they need to be. Uh, as for what does a professional educator look like, I know there's an answer that you're probably looking for to a certain extent. However, I think that's a loaded question. I think or I should say, from the high school I work at, you've got one guy who comes to school in a suit and tie every day, and then you've got another guy who wears shorts and Hawaiian shirts every day, and you've got everybody in between. And I'm not sure if the dress necessarily dictates the success, um, or the respect that you may get from the classes that you teach. Uh, I think every teacher has their own way that they feel comfortable, and as long as the teacher feels comfortable in what they're wearing, it will allow for them to be successful within the classroom. Uh, this question reminded me of my favorite professor in college, which it was in one of my business classes, and he would go for a run prior to class, and he'd show up in dolphin shorts and a tank top, and he was my favorite teacher, not because he was just a cool guy or anything along those lines, but he knew his stuff, and the way he was able to convey his message was very effective, and I found him to be one of my favorite teachers and one of the ones I learned the most from. So I'm not sure there's an exact like look when it comes to being a teacher, but you do need to be presentable. You can't be untidy with your appearance and things along those lines. But I don't think there's a certain dress code At least not in the schools I've worked at, the schools I've been a part of, there's not necessarily a dress code that you need to adhere by. And I don't think that a dress code would necessarily make a teacher a better teacher than somebody else, for that matter. Uh, Things that guide my actions and thinkings are my peers, and seeing what they do and how they excel and always strive for excellence is something that I definitely hold myself to as well. I look at them and I want to emulate them in certain regards with how they conduct themselves within the classroom, or how they carry themselves in the off time, or whatever it may be. I think that's just one of the things, is having people, role models within the school you work at, and being able to try to achieve what they've achieved over the course of time. And also, my admin uh, plays a massive part in that as well. They expect a certain let's see here, a certain way of teaching, a certain disposition, you could say, and everything along those lines. So I think that kind of sums up my thoughts when it comes to teaching, of who I am and what I strive to be. Peace.